What's up, you guys, and welcome to the Alex Hampton Show, where this is the show where we take movie news, TV news, and pop culture events and controversy and address them here on this show. I'm your host, Alex Hampton, and I could not do this show without my esteemed, amazing co-host, Mr. Jeremy Branch. How are you doing today, man?
I'm glad to be back. It feels like it's been a while, but I feel like I'm home too. It's probably been, I don't know, 6 months. Yeah, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's been too long. I'm excited to be back. I'm glad we're going to be catching up on everything in the world of pop culture. We got a ton of movie news we're going to be getting into. Got a little bit of culture news that we're going to be discussing. Hopefully our good friend Ian Elliott Carter is able to stop by before too long, but he's a busy man, and I think we can both relate to that.
Oh, definitely. And as Jeremy said, Ian will jump on potentially throughout the show to address some of these topics. And yeah, we have a jam-packed show for you guys today. A lot of great things for us to tackle and talk about. But to get the housekeeping out of the way, if this is your first time ever watching this show, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And hit that bell right next to it. That way you get all the notifications every time you're watching the Alex Hampton Show. And if you can't watch us on YouTube, this show will be made available on Spotify. So maybe about a couple hours after the show has ended, the audio version will be posted in the Spotify. Just type in the Alex Hampton Show. That's literally the only name on Spotify, and boom, you'll see the new episode posted. And also we will have clips for this episode either later today or the very next day of each topic of this show. And a great way to support us here at Momentum Media is obviously subscribing, liking, and sharing the content. But if you want to be a part of our Patreon, go to our Patreon, patreon.com/Momentum Media. We only have one tier. And if you pay, it's just simple $5 a month. You will get exclusive content to you before it comes out on my YouTube channel. And also, if you want to support, because I've had people support, but you want to donate, but you couldn't be a Patreon supporter, my Cash App is at the ticker down there. And fun fact, it is May 4th. May the 4th be with you. And it's actually my daughter's birthday.
What? 2 reasons to celebrate. Well, happy birthday to your daughter. And it slipped my mind for a second, but May the 4th be with you. And you as well, folks at home that are checking this out. In the spirit of Star Wars Day, y'all let us know what your favorite Star Wars related story is, whether it be a TV series, a comic book, maybe a novelization that you really liked, like the Thrawn trilogy or any of the classic movies. Let us know what your favorite Star Wars story is down in the comments section while you're checking this out. We'd love to hear from you and read those out loud.
Sorry, my daughter's trying to get me to put on my glasses.
Happy birthday!
Say happy birthday. Say thank you. Okay, go now. Daddy has to do a show.
A little cameo appearance from the birthday girl. Love to see it.
Yes. Later today, we will be going out for her little birthday, and we can't wait to celebrate it with her. But like I stated before, we have a bunch of topics to go ahead and jump into. The first thing we're going to jump into is our off the top topics. Real quick, I'm going to play a quick little minor commercial break to reset some things here, and then we will be right back with our off the top topics. Let's see. Okay, I'm glad you guys seen that intro like 2 times. But yeah, I just had to address something really quickly. But now let's go ahead and get into our off the top topics. Okay, guys. So as you guys know, Spirit of May 4th, like Jeremy said, let us know what your favorite Star Wars movie is since it's May the 4th. But also, something really cool is happening on Netflix today. Cat Williams, he's been in the news of pop culture and all these different things. He's releasing his Netflix special today at 6 p.m. on Netflix time, Standard Eastern Time. It's going to be live. I know Chris Rock did it in the past with Selective Outrage. I didn't see his live. I saw the playback, but I'm actually excited to see it. I'm going to like get my couch ready, make sure because I know I have birthday plans with my daughter. I'll make sure to get back before then, watch it and see what he has to say. And I'm actually really excited for this after everything that has happened within the media. I know Ian recently saw him, I think about a month or so ago, with him and his wife. They went to go see a show of his, and he
Oh, cool.
enjoyed the show. So, Jeremy, you heard about this news. How do you feel about this live Netflix special that's going to happen literally within the next few hours?
So, first of all, we got to just acknowledge that Cat Williams is kind of the start of these dominoes falling in the world of hip hop over the last couple of months. I really think you can trace a direct line between that Club Shay Shay podcast interview and what's breaking in the news right now that we're streaming live, which is a topic involving Drake and Kendrick Lamar that we're going to circle back around to. But for the time being, we're hoping that Ian will be able to drop by to weigh in because I just want to hear everybody's thoughts on it. But I'm excited. You mentioned Chris Rock, and I still think Chris Rock is the GOAT. I know he doesn't have the volume and the catalog of some other comics that have consistently stayed putting out specials, but I do remember reading that he wasn't thrilled with the way that the live turned out. And I think that it's understandable why. When you're pre-taping, you've got a lot more control. You can even stitch together multiple shows. Like say you tape 3 different nights and you're doing the same set. They can take the best sections of each of those nights and kind of put them all together seamlessly and nobody would be any the wiser. When you're live, all bets are off. Anything can happen. And that is exciting when you're talking about somebody like Cat Williams because the dude's wild. There's no telling what this man is going to say. And I'm here for it. The more Cat Williams spills the tea, the better it is for us to have stuff to talk about and laugh about. What's up, Ian?
Hey, buddy.
On the stream.
Hey, who is this guy? I thought, it was our show. Every time you talk about the guy Jeremy, he never shows up, and I don't know what he looks like.
Time. Stop. It was one show. I think maybe there was more. If so, you got to take that up with Alex because I didn't get the invite.
What is this crazy man talking about? Who is this guy?
Ian, we're talking about like today. I don't know if you heard today. Cat Williams' live special comes out today. What are your thoughts about it? And are you excited about it?
I mean, me and you talked about Cat a couple shows ago, I think, and I think the show that he's dropping on Netflix is what I saw live in Mobile, Alabama. And I'm excited. I'm gonna watch it again. Maybe there's some stuff that I didn't see, but if it's about the same stuff I saw, trust me, it's funny.
How directly related is the special to the podcast?
He mentions it. He does mention the podcast, and he does talk about, current events and stuff like that. But
cool.
Cat's style is more like, hey, man, life is short. Enjoy it. He has this joke about Trick Daddy that's hilarious. He says, hey, if this guy, he has a picture of Trick Daddy on the stage, and it's like the ugliest picture of Trick Daddy he could find. He's like, if this guy can make it, you can. This guy has a cooking show and he eats ass. It's great. Great.
Wow, I did not know that. Oh, that's crazy. So it's funny. I'm glad that you. This is perfect timing that you jumped in because we're about to go into our next off the top topic, and we kind of addressed this in our last episode of Ask Alex with the Quavo and Chris Brown beef. But now Kendrick Lamar has responded back to Drake, and it has been, yo, this was the most subtle, but the most concise, amazing diss I've ever heard from Kendrick. Like, he's being nice but nasty as hell at the same time. And I want to know, you out of the back and forth, do you think Kendrick did a good job responding? I'm hearing that there are some people who like Drake's response better. How do you guys feel about it, Ian? We've been waiting for you on this topic. How do you feel about this current back and forth between Kendrick and Drake?
All right, just a quick recap for people like this guy that I've never met before that probably don't know anything about hip hop.
I'm with the culture, man. Stop.
Yeah, my bad. My bad. I didn't mean to insult you, sir. So yes, this has been an ongoing beef for like the last month, maybe even more. Kendrick called out Drake in a feature he did with Future, and then Drake responded in a song. Then he responded in another song where he had AI of Tupac and Snoop on there. Very creative choice. Respect about Drake is he went at like 20 people at one time, and verse him. So I respect that. Then Kendrick finally responded. He responded maybe 2 weeks after that, or a week and a half. People were kind of rushing the situation, but we got to remember, like, you can't really rush the creative process. Back in the day, artists used to take months, almost a year to respond to stuff, but we live in a digital age where people are rushing. I'm gonna rush this recap. Sorry. And then after that, Kendrick finally did respond with a track called E4. Very good. Thing I love about Kendrick is if you listen multiple times, you can hear something different every time. He's a very calculated, artistic, puzzle piece type of artist. Like, it's one of those deep dives, like everything means something. Drake basically was like, hey, Kendrick, I have more money than you. I fuck more bitches and you're short. Kendrick was basically like, yo, you are ruining the culture. He's breaking down like by syllable, like all the bad things that he's done in his life. So after that, Kendrick responded, did another one. And that one, just the title alone had a deeper meaning. I forgot what it's like. It's like 11.
Oh,
huh?
Then I was thinking about Meet the Grams, which was just now dropped.
No, I'm coming to that. Okay, he dropped another one. He dropped another one called like 11 or 615 or something in LA, where he's dissing him again. Then Drake finally responds to the two disses that Kendrick had, and to me, it was decent. But the thing about Drake's diss was he's still going at everybody else that's going at him and stuff like that. I think he needs to just keep his eye on the target, which is Kendrick Lamar. He's better than all the other rappers. Kendrick is the one killing him. So he's kind of talking about other stuff, but he's accusing Kendrick of being a woman beater and stuff like that. It's all alleged. Then Kendrick, what amazing thing I've never seen in hip hop history is Kendrick responds like less than an hour later to that track called Meet the Grams, as Jeremy was saying, and he accuses Drake of hiding another child. What? Rest in peace, Jerry Springer. This is crazy. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. This is like the best hip hop battle, and I followed hip hop my whole life. This is like the wildest hip hop battle I've ever seen, and I love it because it's very competitive and it's not violent yet. It's getting there though. It's talking about family and shit.
It's about to be, because after Meet the Grams, I'm like, oh shit. But
it's
Jeremy,
wild.
This is our first time having you back on the show. What is your take on all of this rap beef?
Shout out to Bradley Kincaid. If you're still in the chat, appreciate you stopping by, my guy. Always a pleasure. There he is. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, man. I do appreciate that. It's wild. I honestly, I didn't know the inception of it, but when Push-Ups, Drake's diss track came out, I got really plugged in. I started kind of digging deeper and trying to figure out what the genesis of this was. And I gotta say, just sonically, Drake's song goes pretty hard. Push-Ups has got a great beat in it. It's got that 16th beat. It's more like trap music inspired. It's got that like 16th beat hi-hat in there. Low end 808 bass. Reminds me of Tupac's "Hit 'Em Up."
I agree. Out of all this, though, like I agree. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but like I think Kendrick's winning. But as you were saying about the beats, I think Drake is picking the beats better. I definitely agree.
Like Drake's song "Rides," Kendrick's stuff is just lyrically so elevated. It's like if we're just talking about lyrical content, Kendrick's stuff goes so hard. And Ian, you kind of nailed it perfectly. It's like Drake's flex is that I'm more successful than you and I'm bigger than you. I'm bigger than you physically and I'm bigger than you metaphorically. And then Kendrick just like tries to make him look so small. And he's a lethal weapon, man. His lyrics are just so multi-layered. And what's great about Kendrick right now is it's almost like he's putting Easter eggs into every single bar and then lets Twitter do the legwork and figure out all of these parallels and these correlations of things that are happening. And it's really wild. I would be lying to say that a lot of the stuff it just misses my radar because I'm not so familiar with both their careers. But yeah, I mean, Drake just kind of looks goofy, man. I've always respected him as a pop artist, but when Kendrick says, I make music that electrifies, you make music that pacifies, I'm like, oh my God, that is a bar, dude. That is a bar. And I mean, that's just tip of the iceberg. But I don't know. I got to give respect to Drake. But this is not even a contest. I mean, it was just body shot after body shot and then headshot after headshot, every single bar. And Kendrick's songs, the Meet the Grams, I love his delivery. His flow in Meet the Grams is so like low key and he's just taking all of these shots. But I will say two things. Rap beefs are petty and I'm here for it. You know what I mean? Kendrick went low. Kendrick shot low just like he said he would. And he has really picked at the insecurities of Drake and the whole thing about like, we don't want to hear you say N-word no more. Why?
Hey, can I say something to that? Because I love that line because look, and I'm speaking as a mixed person myself. I definitely agree with Kendrick. First of all, I don't think anyone should say the N-word, but like obviously it is what it is. I think Kendrick basically was saying like, look, you have taken from the culture. You put a mask on every album he has. It's like a different genre, and he's like an artist for the moment. He like gravitates to the trending artist. Kendrick, he makes like he takes his time on projects and he makes albums like for the people. Drake is just basically doing it like for himself. He's a trending artist. So I understand what he's saying. Like he kind of puts on blackface. He's raised in Canada in a rich family. He's a fucking actor from Nickelodeon. You know, so he's not.
On that note, is blackness exclusive to the American experience? Like, is Drake's blackness somehow on? Like, are we questioning that because he's Canadian, or is it because he's like you said, like a culture vulture because he's been integrated into hip hop culture for like decades now.
He's part of the culture for sure. I'm not going to discount that he's not part of the culture. He's gotten classic hits. Take Care is like one of my favorite albums. I think the point that I think is being made is like, to me, I don't think anyone's any less black because of how they act or talk, because I've had people say that to me and I'm like, read a book, you idiot. Don't say you're blacker than me because I pronounce words better than you. But I understand what they're saying by like, you know, he kind of turns that on because when he first came out, he was that guy that's singing and, you know, rapping. He was like Kanye. He was being his authentic self. Now there's videos of him with white teeth or black teeth looking like he's going to rob a store. He's talking that gangster shit. You know, he's just turning this persona on. And that's what he thinks black culture is. That's the difference. If you're being your authentic self, black, no matter what anyone says, you know, if you're being authentic, that's cool. But don't be the stereotypical black when it's making you money and then go home and then to your mansion and stuff like that. And when you know damn well that's not where you are. And I wanted to add something to the N-word thing. What's funny, and I give Drake these props because his diss that he dropped yesterday. And again, what was it called? Sorry, because I just
Push Up.
Not Push Us. The one after that.
Oh, Meet the Grams? No, Drake's. I forgot.
Sorry.
I forgot. I had it pulled. Oh,
and I woke up at 4:00 in the morning, and listened to both of them multiple times too. It's the one with the van from
Taylor Made.
No, not Taylor Made. The one he dropped today.
God damn, I ain't heard it. I guess.
Oh snap. Okay. Well, anyways, the first thing he says after Kendrick basically said, "I don't want to hear you say N-word no more." The first line in the song, he says, "Nigga, it's crazy." So he basically was like, "I'll say whatever I want." And I forgot what the. Let me look that up too.
Yeah, I saw that there was like an AI album that used Tupac and
Family Matters. Family Matters is what he dropped.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess I haven't heard that. Oh no, that's the other AI song, isn't it?
No, it's not AI. The only one that's AI is the Taylor Made one.
Taylor Made. Yeah.
Taylor Made, which I respect that one too, because like it's, people AI is a hot topic. I get it. But the way he did it was kind of artistic. Like he was giving point of views of these artists. He wasn't rapping as he was that artist. He was like kind of taunting Kendrick. So I like the angle he went with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I definitely hear what you're saying. I think that's kind of what how Drake might be playing 4D chess over like psychological games and stuff like that. And I just feel like Kendrick the disrespect from this man in that Meet the Grams song. Oh, and I was also kind of thinking like Drake's diss track sounding a little bit like Tupac's beat wise. I also feel like Kendrick has kind of picked up and carried the torch for like what I would consider traditionally like East Coast hip hop, like backpack rap from the 90s with his beat selection. And it's almost got that more like lo-fi sound, much more chilled and stuff like that. But it made me start thinking about Ether, Nas's big diss track to Jay-Z. And then I started going a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole. And Nas's father was a jazz musician. And Drake's father is also a Memphis-born jazz musician. So I just, And
to piggyback what you just said, the psychological warfare you were just talking about. The track that Kendrick dropped, the 616 one in LA, Drake's father or uncle produced that for Teddy Pendergrass, that sample.
Ah, I see.
Psychological warfare, brother.
Yeah. Alex, what do you think about all this stuff?
Real quick, I wanted to address one of these comments. Drake's is one of my favorite artists. Kendrick's eating him alive. Hell, I heard Kendrick from a Buried Alive interlude from Take Care. And that's from the Rundown Productions, my good friend Cuba, who's over there.
What's up, Cuba?
Yeah, they're definitely going back and forth. Bradley Kincaid says shots fired. He also wrote, honestly, I'm afraid to support anyone these days, especially until Diddy's done dropping.
That's a fact, dude.
That's a fact. Yeah. Hey, honestly, if we're gonna make an executive decision, I think Drake would probably be more attached to Diddy than because Kendrick don't be partying. Drake's always partying.
Yeah.
And when P. Diddy says let's party, you got to tell him no. That's what Kendrick. That's what what's his name? Cat Williams said.
Yo, but I will say this, because I piggyback on what you guys said. I think lyrically, Kendrick has literally murdered this man. I loved Euphoria. Out of all the, I do like the recent one he just dropped, but Euphoria, he talked about Drake's fatherhood, but in a nice way. Like he was like, you're a dad, but not a good one.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God. Like he's amazing at what he does, man. And so far how I feel about it is I love that we're getting great music out of it. It is petty to an extent, but I think Drake, because Drake has a stigma of having writers for him, he's losing this battle.
Yep.
He
Yeah,
is
the Ghost
losing this
Riders.
battle. Bradley says Drake is for sure bad news. And then Cuba says
Cuba's
Drake
wild for that.
Drake
Damn.
hugging Bergman, who painted nails, might hit his head with the nail as far as the next Diddy, laughing my ass off. Wow. That is hilarious.
I think look, I gotta defend men who want to wear like berets in their hair and paint their nails and shit. Like, just be your authentic self. To Ian's point, if that's how you want to express yourself, I'm not gonna say you're less of a man for it. But it is really funny to hear Kendrick sit there and be like, talking 3 goats, and I saw 2 of them on stage kissing and hugging. It's just like I don't know how I feel about all of that part of it. And then I also hate like when guns and like violence get brought into it. I understand the metaphor side of it. I also understand that like collectively, humanity pretty stupid, pretty low IQ. So like when you think about things like satire and you think about things like wordplay and metaphors, you also have to take into account that most of these people don't even know that you're being ironic. So there's danger in saying stuff like that. But anyways, we could do a whole entire show out of this. I guess Ian got sick of my company. So in the meantime, we'll just move it along.
I'm sure Ian will probably jump back in. I know he's driving in the midst of this, but yeah, man, out of this whole Drake and Kendrick beef, to the people in the comment section and the people who are going to probably watch this playback or listen to this playback later on, what do you guys think about what's been going on with this rap beef? Jump into the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts. Okay, well, that brings us to our next topic, which is Fast and the Furious. Apparently, Fast 11 is potentially going to be delayed because Tyrese was being interviewed and saying that they won't shoot the next Fast and Furious movie until 2025, but the movie was slated to come out in April of that same year. If I'm being honest, you can't. I mean, you could knock it out and probably get it out right at that same time, but I would hope that they would take their time on it. My thoughts on this is simply put, this is that I actually liked Fast 10. I think Fast 10 is a fun movie. You have to walk into it, forget logic. I'm done with logic with these movies. Just go and have a good time. If Fast 9 has not taught us anything, just go and have a good time. And that's what I've done. And if I'm being honest, I'm actually super excited for Fast 11 because I really enjoyed Fast 10. With that being said, I'd rather it be delayed than putting out crap. Again, like I said, I enjoyed the last movie. It did well enough to warrant a sequel. Thank God. I hope this is the last movie in the franchise so they can do some more original content, something different. But Jeremy, Fast 11 might be delayed. What do you think about this franchise being delayed? And did you like the previous movie in comparison to this one?
A couple of little things I want to touch on. Bradley Kincaid said, honestly, in regards to the Kendrick and Drake beef, honestly, it's marketing at its best. I wouldn't be surprised to find out this is a collaboration. I'm going to be 100% honest with you.
Yeah,
if both of them
definitely
are working together, that would not shock me at all. He also says they need time to figure out how to top driving a car through space in regard to the new Fast and Furious movie. And I've got a pitch. Dom goes to hell. That's the clear next. Dom's going to be street racing Satan for the fate of the family. And, the part of the story that I found interesting is the way that The Rock and Vin Diesel kind of fractured and splintered off into different factions. And now The Rock kind of went back to wrestling. He's like a partial owner for TK Holdings, whatever the corporation that owns WWE is. So Look, man, you and I have talked about Fast and the Furious before. I don't love these movies. I get what you're saying. They are a good time to watch them. I actually didn't see Fast 10, so I'm not keeping up with it in the same way that I used to. I really do think it peaked at 7. But I'm glad there's still an audience for it. You know, you and I have also talked about before that it's like this is a original IP. It's not based on comic books or some TV series from the 70s. It's its own thing. It's been incredibly successful. It's consistently had the same great cast in it, and to see them kind of work off of each other is a good time. So I see the appeal of it. As far as why it's getting pushed back, I do like the idea that they're trying to figure out how to crack the story, but I also feel like one of the directors ended up leaving the project due to some sort of contention, but maybe that was the last movie. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was Justin Lin. He left literally within the first 2 weeks of shooting because he had problem. I guess he had an issue with Vin Diesel. At least Vin Diesel's
That's
not
right.
peeing in boss bottles, Rock. But you know,
that is a wild thing to do, man. To give a piss bottle to your PA and say, "Go dispose of this for me." Nah, dude.
That's what makes me wonder. Like, and it's funny. I'm glad you said that because it makes me wonder what were the issues that Vin Diesel and The Rock had. Because if The Rock, what me and Jeremy are referring to, if you guys don't know, it's being reported that the movie that The Rock has been working on has ballooned up to like $250 million because his excessive tardiness. And then also he would do things like pee in the bottle and give it to a PA assistant for them to throw away so he doesn't miss shooting time. Dude, it takes like less than 5 minutes to pee.
And if you're not showing up to the set 45 minutes, an hour and a half, 2 hours late, whatever they're saying, then you got more time to go and run to the bathroom before the scene. They did a hit piece on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson just a couple days ago. I don't know how true any of it is, but it doesn't paint a good picture for him, especially because I believe you and I probably, and I don't want to speak for you, but I'd be curious to hear what you think. I kind of blamed it on Vin Diesel. I kind of thought that Vin Diesel was like the prima donna and that he was the one that was making the shoots all about him and the way that he wanted to do things. But now that we're getting a little more insight into the way things are going, it seems like Rock was kind of a pain in the ass at different times.
I still believe to an extent it was Vin Diesel's fault because I don't know if you remember, prior to them shooting Fast 10, he made this long Instagram post to Dwayne saying to come back.
And my kids call you Unc and stuff.
Yeah. And he started off the post wrong. He called Dwayne my little brother. And I get it because of age, but I'm like, bro, that's the most condescending thing.
It really is, man. It really is. It's like saying you got a size 7 man's.
Exactly. Like, have you seen The Rock? Like, really? Like, so for me, I do think that there were some both rock, movie star deviance happening, but more so on Vin Diesel's side because it is his franchise. It was really his and Paul Walker's, and now that Paul Walker's no longer with us, it's his. So I kind of see why it became a thing. Also, I think at one point The Rock thought that he could take over the franchise with Hobbs and Shaw, and regardless of what you think of that movie, I still think it was a pretty decent movie. Yeah. Those movies worked because The Rock was such a good antagonist. He wasn't the main villain, but he was like, he worked with the crew, but don't get it twisted. He hated that same crew. And I love that banter.
Yeah. Oh, Backlash is tonight in France for any WWE fans that happen to be checking this out. That's a whole rabbit hole I've fallen into since Royal Rumble 2023. So I'm excited about checking that out in playback. I'm not going to be able to watch it live tonight because I've got other obligations. But dude, WrestleMania 40 with The Rock, fire. It was so dope.
Dude, one of my things I'm going to do before I leave this earth is go to WrestleMania.
Right?
Yes, I'm definitely going to go to a WrestleMania show like that. I just, oh my God, like, Rundown says, "Yo, that Friends crowd was insane on SmackDown."
I hadn't seen last night's SmackDown yet. I gotta check that out. That's great that like European audiences are they go crazy for it, man. They don't get shows over there all the time. We're like, if you're in Pittsburgh or something like that, in America, we get shows pretty regularly, but it's like a huge event for them over there. So I'm loving to see the huge surge in popularity that wrestling's had over the last year. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson did kind of try to ingratiate himself to the WWE community and say, like, I did that. I made wrestling cool again, even though the Triple H era has just, from what I understand, been exceptional. So, yeah, anyways, that's a whole different detour. But as far as Fast and Furious 10 goes, I need to catch up. I'm curious to see, or excuse me, 11. I'm curious to see where the franchise goes.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes and how it ends. Like I want to see what the final swan song's going to be, even though this should have ended at 7.
Yeah.
That's always been my debate, but you know, hey, it is what it is, because they're literally called Fast and Furious, the last ride. But really, but what do you guys think? Are you guys excited about seeing Fast 11? And what do you guys think about it being delayed? Jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, you guys, that leads us into our next topic. I want to know, how big of a Scooby-Doo fan are you guys who are watching this? You know, Scooby-Doo has been one of my favorite TV shows as a kid. Fun fact, people are probably not going to like what I'm going to say, but I really liked the first live action Scooby-Doo movie.
Okay.
I liked the Scooby-Doo movie. The second one, not so much. They did a re-edition of it as younger kids on Cartoon Network. That was trash. And then they did during COVID, they did an animated movie called Scoob.
I didn't see that.
It's on HBO Max. It's on HBO Max. So my take on it, or my thing is that or what's being reported is that Netflix has signed a deal with the people at Warner Brothers to create a Scooby-Doo series coming to Netflix. As you guys know, Scooby-Doo is a Warner Brothers property, but they licensed that property to Netflix. It's going to be a live action series. I'm actually excited to see it. I think there's so many things you can do with a live action Scooby-Doo. And I think they should do some callbacks. I mean, they're doing a whole bunch of other stuff on Netflix, like an animated version of Good Times, which I think nobody should see. Not just because it's bad, but the fact that the animation is just garbage. But anyway, they're doing a lot of different things. And I think watching a Scooby-Doo live action TV show would be kind of dope. So, Jeremy, I know you are familiar with this character. Are you excited about a live action Scooby-Doo show? And what do you think about it coming to Netflix?
So I love Scooby-Doo. Where Are You? I loved a pup named Scooby-Doo when I was a kid. It kind of had that 1950s vibe to it. I really enjoyed some of the feature length movies, like Zombie Island was one of them. There's a couple Scooby-Doo features that are pretty good. I didn't see Scoob. I'm looking at the art for this new Scooby series that's coming out, and I love the character designs on it. It looks very true to the originals and updated for modern audiences to be able to enjoy. I don't know who that superhero character is and his super dog. I was never like a big fan of Scrappy-Doo. I hadn't seen the 2 Scooby-Doo live action movies. I know James Gunn wrote one of the scripts for him, but I will tell you the last thing that I saw from Scooby-Doo was Velma on HBO Max, and it is dog shit. Not a big fan of Velma. The wokeness is definitely annoying, and I'm not one to use that term super lightly, but they really, really just tried way too hard and ended up, just isolating a huge segment of the Scooby-Doo fandom by basically like ridiculing the original series. Velma's just obnoxious, dude. She's not likable. She's annoying, and it sucked. So I got a bad taste in my mouth regarding Scooby-Doo. And if this new Netflix series is good, then I can hang my hat on that. I can come back and I can be proud to be a Scooby-Doo fan again, because Velma is dog shit.
I've seen some of Velma, and it's they're trying to make it's basically a carbon copy of the Harley Quinn show.
I love the Harley Quinn show though.
Right. I love the Harley Quinn show because of what the different things that they bring to it. They try to copy that same type of narrative.
I see what you mean.
But it's not, like you said, it's not good. It's not really that good.
It's annoying.
I haven't finished Velma, but I will say this. I think this is good that Netflix is able to license different IPs. I want to see more things come out of Netflix because I think they're kind of following behind in the conversation of content, because we're getting new stuff from Paramount and Peacock, and even Disney and Hulu have now merged. So that's one big thing now.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming. So I am excited for this. Bradley Kincaid says, I'm pretty sure she's always been annoying. I even vaguely remember Freddie sighing at her often.
That's fair. That's a good point. Why build a series around the annoying one? Anyways.
Exactly. I don't know, like, and I guess she's gay in the other one.
And you know, I don't care about the color palette swap or whatever, and I don't care that she's gay. It's the way that they do it. It just seems so antagonistic, like it's aggressively progressive, which is annoying, especially as a progressive person. It's like this show is the thing that gives shitheads on YouTube fuel to the fire. So anyways,
yeah, and I feel you. For me, again, I will watch anything with a good story attached to it. For me personally, this doesn't really have that, or at least that show doesn't have that. That's why I'm excited to see an actual live action series from this. If they make this show with a mixture of like, you know, Stranger Things and some mystery show elements, even some Law and Order elements, because they're technically kind of like detectives, but
that's a good call. Yeah,
you know, I would love to see that, and I can't wait to see that. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think about Netflix doing a Scooby-Doo live action series? Jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. And if Bradley Kincaid, if you're still in the chat, Mr. Rundown wants to know if you have a channel. Go ahead and pop that in the chat as well.
He's a fantastic creator, somebody that I speak to often, marketing genius, I may say, and does some really good commercials and cinematography, videography, editing, all that kind of stuff. So if you are on the market to advertise any of your, you know, different ventures, I definitely say he's a good resource.
Definitely. And Bradley, please go ahead and subscribe to the Momentum Media.
Don't do it. Well. No.
You get to see definitely. This show weekly, at least.
Yeah, definitely.
But speaking of Netflix is doing something pretty odd with their series. Now, I'm a Netflix advocate. I love the things that they're doing. Especially with the original content. One of my favorite shows from Netflix is Arcane. I can't wait for season 2. I'm so excited for that. But another show that I'm really excited for is Cobra Kai final season. But Jeremy, they're doing something completely different. They're dividing, so it's 15 episodes, and they're dividing it into 3 parts. So I'm assuming, if I'm doing my mathematics correctly, the first part is 5 episodes, the next one's 5, and the last part is 5. But what's so different about this, because they've done parts like this before, this one's coming out like really far apart. So this show is being released initially in July. They did put out a trailer for it. But part 2 of this final season comes out in November. And then the final part comes out in sometime in 2025.
Oh wow.
Now, I know Stranger Things did something similar to this. So did Zack Snyder's movie Rebel Moon. By the way, do not watch that movie. However, when those things came out, they were usually within a month's period, not so far along. So, Jeremy, what do you? I know you have seen Cobra Kai. What do you think about the final season finally coming out and then it being spaced out into 3 parts? And my question is to you: do you think that this show will want to keep the audience coming back to watch it? I mean, 5 episodes is it's a small chunk, and especially if it's coming all out at once. So what do you think about this?
First of all, I have seen Mike Tyson Mysteries. It's fantastic. It's such a great spin on the Scooby-Doo style and narrative, and very, very funny. I was a big fan of it. Alex, did you ever see it?
I did. That was dope. That was really dope. Yeah.
Definitely a good watch. Highly recommend checking that out. I personally am a firm believer in the stretched out release schedule. I like Fallout a lot. Just to point to a very recent example of a streaming service that put the entire season out at one time. I think I would have preferred Fallout if we had a week to digest each episode and we could talk about it and we could theorize and we could build anticipation. As far as a business model goes, say I want to watch Cobra Kai season 5. So I subscribe to Netflix. I watch it all at one time, 15 episodes, boom. Take me 2-3 days. I can cancel my Netflix subscription immediately. Where if I break it up into 3 times, 3 different months, I've got your subscription dollars for 300% as much, which is it's the savvy business move. I am somebody that will binge watch television series. Like I just watched Baby Reindeer, which is a 7 episode miniseries on Netflix. Very good. Wouldn't recommend it. But it, so if it's there, I'm going to do it. It's like if I got a whole bag of M&Ms in front of me, I'm going to eat the entire bag of M&Ms. You give me a family size bag of M&Ms, I'm going to eat the whole thing, dude. I'm going to gorge myself, even if it's not good for me. And so I like the restraint of releasing week to week because it builds anticipation. It keeps the conversation going longer. It makes sense for the businesses because that way they are able to keep and retain subscribers. And I understand why people would prefer to binge the entire thing. You know, we are a very instant gratification society. Some people don't like being left on cliffhangers, but I kind of prefer the way that Last of Us was this week to week appointment viewing on Monday morning. Everybody was talking about it at the water cooler. And so, yeah, I like that they're releasing it in 3 parts. And also, I didn't even mention Cobra Kai is such a freaking awesome show. It started on YouTube. I want to say they might have even done the first 2 seasons on YouTube, but definitely the first one.
Yeah, the first 2 seasons, yeah.
And then they sold to Netflix and the production value increased. They were able to afford some bigger stars. They really spared no expense in this relatively cheap show. It does a really good job of like evoking nostalgia and appealing to people of the, Gen X millennial crossover, the Zennials, if you will, who grew up loving Karate Kid, while it also creates new relatable characters for young people. So there's like these 2 different storylines. Both of them are extremely effective. And I think both of them speak to their core audience in a way that's like, can be meaningful and enjoyable for dad watching it with his daughter, and so I really like that. What do you think about them releasing it in 3 parts?
I'm interested to see it because, I'll say this, the last season, I believe it ended in a way where they could have just would have ended. Because Kreese was in jail. Yes, he broke out, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they can continue the story. I mean, I think that they left it off where they took down Cobra Kai for what it was. My interest in it is, okay, now that we've seen Cobra Kai kind of dismantle, how are they bringing it back? Why?
That's a good call.
Because Kreese got linked up with those same karate teachers, but how are you going to bring the students back? because even in the trailer, you see some of those students who left with now Miyagi-Do, and some of them are just have quit completely. So what are we doing? Like, how are we bringing back the further of these two dojos, or three dojos if you count Eagle Fang?
Yeah.
So for me personally, I'm interested in seeing it. What I don't like, which I agree with Rundown, he said that he doesn't like it's in three parts. I don't like it's in three parts either. I don't. And Brad Kincaid even made a point earlier. He said that he'll just wait until
Yeah.
it comes out. Like, he wrote this. Thanks for telling me releasing in three parts. I'm just gonna wait. I might just do
There will
that.
be a lot of that. Yeah.
Or okay, the season's going to be released in three parts. It should be closer, and I agree with him. It should, because it should be no more than a month, maybe 2 months apart. One of the, like I stated earlier, I love Arcane, right? Do you realize Arcane came out in 2021?
Stop, man. I get these constant reminders about how old I am, and it's very disheartening. Yeah, I did realize that. That's wild.
We're just now getting a season 2 this year.
Yeah.
And like, I understand animation takes a long time. I get it. But dude, 3 years? 3 years. So for me, I'm interested in these things. I think what Netflix should do is focus a priority on things that are working and develop original content. However, put out your prominent tentpole shows. Like, I think you could tell another side story to Stranger Things and connect the universe if you wanted to, So, but to Cobra Kai, I do think that having it in 3 parts will excite people. I think what will disappoint people is because it's so spread so thin, and I don't like it how it's like that. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think of Cobra Kai being spread into 3 parts? Jump into your comment section below and let us know your thoughts. And for time constraints, we're just gonna jump to the final topic today. We had one other topic that we'll address again some other time, but for time constraints, we'll just drop to the next one. And the last one is, as you guys know the title, Giancarlo Esposito has now joined the MCU. It's been reported that today, this actually happened last night, that he signed an overall deal with Marvel to be a mystery character. Now, people are assuming that he's going to be either Professor X, Magneto, somebody in the X-Men. Giancarlo Esposito has stated before this deal was even being made that he has met with Kevin Feige about potentially being in their up-and-coming X-Men movies for the MCU. For me, I am excited about this news because he is an amazing actor. I have said for years I would love to see him as a Professor X, but given the climate of the MCU, I think I know what he's cast as, and it's not an X-Men character.
Interesting. What you think?
I think that this is our dominant version of Kang. Think about
it. Talk to me. Why?
Think about it, because now that Jonathan Majors is unfortunately out, they have not hired a director just yet for Secret Wars and Kang, and they're redoing Kang Dynasty. It's essentially now Avengers 5, but Kang is still a part of this MCU. I think that Giancarlo Esposito is probably the original Kang, just aged up, and all of the other variants of Kang were still young and in their prime. But now that he's been recast, this is going to be our final Kang threat. Or my next pick is not just Kang, but it's another villain. We just got heard. We heard that Silver Surfer was cast in the Fantastic Four. This could be our Galactus.
Yeah.
So I don't think that he's going to be a hero. I think he's going to be a villain. And I don't think he's going to be in the X-Men, because we still don't even know what our X-Men are going to look like in the MCU. Yeah, we got Deadpool 3 coming out, but we all know that's a whole Elseworlds type of thing. So, Jeremy, what do you think about Giancarlo Esposito joining the MCU, and what character do you think he could potentially play?
I am going to take a shot at the pronunciation. Like, not take a shot at you. I'm going to try. I think it's Giancarlo Esposito.
Okay, it
I
could
think.
it could be one car. Yeah.
I think he's great. A lot of what you said is very interesting to me, man. Like, I would have never considered the Kang thing. The Galactus thing makes a lot of sense. When I first saw this news, 5 minutes before we started recording, my immediate thought was Professor X. I think he's got the kind of demeanor and the kind of sophistication that could lend himself to that character well. If they want to bring in a familiar actor and do a kind of recontextualization of what we've discussed many times and has been discussed many times throughout pop culture and culture in general, of like the X-Men being a civil rights allegory. It sure would make a lot more sense to go in the direction of having Professor X be a black man. It sure would make a lot of sense to have Magneto played by a black man. You're also right about the fact that he's almost exclusively cast as a villain. So it would make a lot of sense to see him as a villain. As Gus Fring in Breaking Bad, I don't think he was always so measured and so calculating that I almost feel like you need somebody a little bit more like passionate and fiery to play Magneto. I don't know. Maybe that's just the way I interpret the character. I like all those ideas. I feel like Kang is tainted, right? Like, I feel like it's almost like going back to the Eternals. Like, there's this thing that happened when the association with this character or this property gets toxic, and then they tend to like veer away from it. Like, that didn't happen, right? Like, we're just gonna forget about that. Hulk in the original Avengers, a massive departure from what we got in the Incredible Hulk. So I think all of your ideas are interesting. I wonder how they're gonna do a Galactus. Is it gonna be the goofy fucking Galactus from the comic books? It's like, it basically looks like a Sentinel kind of from X-Men with the big hat
Big
on.
head, yeah.
Yeah. Is he going to be like a CGI creation? God forbid him end up being like a thundercloud like he was in the movies. But I still like the idea of him as Professor X or Magneto, man. That's what I personally want to see him as. My preference would be to cast him as Professor X, because now we're actually giving him a hero role. We're actually making him a good guy, and that would be like a refreshing turn for him as an actor, because he is so talented. But one thing you can never take away from Marvel, and I mean, they do many things well, but their casting is always impeccable. So I suspect that whatever role they put him on is going to fit him like a glove.
Yeah, and I think he can play a multitude of roles, from any heroes or any villains a part of the MCU. I do agree with you. I would love to see him as Professor X, or somewhere in the X-Men catalog. And at the same time, I would love to see him as a menacing villain. We haven't gotten to a place yet where the MCU has faced their major threat yet. Not a Thanos level threat, at least. And I'm waiting for that Thanos level threat, and maybe he could be an introduction to that. But given the fact, and I don't want to seem ageism, but given the fact that he is old, the reason why I don't think they would make him Professor X, they're gonna do at least maybe 5 or 6 X-Men movies.
Bradley just said the same thing, and that's a really valid point.
Right, over the course of like 10 years. I don't know if they will put him in that. I don't think Major should have been fired. They will regret this.
Woo, that's a hot take.
That's a very hot take, Cuba. And I feel you. I don't think he should have been fired either. But business is business.
If it was a black woman, you would have thought he should have got fired.
No, not me. That man, you seen the tape? He was running.
I didn't see what happened before the tape. Dude. That's true. It's a whole conversation. I don't know. We've talked about it a handful of times, but Majors aside, I don't know about going back to Kang. Alex just now made a good point. Bradley made a good point. It is very unlikely that they would cast a man in his 60s, 70s to play a pivotal character that's going to be needed for a decade to come.
Right, because I think this next Captain America movie is going to reestablish the MCU. People keep saying it's Deadpool. I see why people are saying that, but you guys got to understand. I think Deadpool is going to be that catalytic character that's going to only make fun of certain things of the MCU. I don't foresee Ryan Reynolds being in Secret Wars.
Interesting.
I don't foresee him. Because Deadpool, and I know they kind of addressed this with She-Hulk, how she'll talk to the camera and break the fourth wall. I don't personally see Deadpool interacting with the Avengers that we know. I just don't. And that's why when you look at the trailers of these movies, they're literally taking Deadpool from the Deadpool we know out of his time and a completely Wolverine that we have not been introduced to. So for me, I think this next Captain America movie is what's going to revitalize the MCU. I think this Deadpool movie is going to get everybody back excited for the MCU. So I'm hoping for the best. Oh, we do got a couple comments before we end real quick. I just rewatched the first X-Men, and I think Patrick Stewart was in his early 60s.
And he's still kicking, though.
Was he in his early 60s at the first X-Men movie?
Let's see. I can do that math real quick. Keep vamping. What do you think about that?
I mean, if he can do it and continue to do it, then do it. I think he can. I don't believe age should stop you from acting, but also we got to keep in mind as you get older. I mean, look at the actor who played Die Hard, the guy from Die Hard. He can't even talk anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point. So Professor X, portrayed by Patrick Stewart, 60 years old in the year 2000, 84 years old today. Played Professor Xavier a couple years ago in the obviously Logan movie, but has played Picard even more recently than that. So, our presidents are like 100 years old, and we trust those fools to run the country with their fucking crazy old asses. But so, I do see both sides of that. I think that that's a valid thing to bring up, Cuba, is that, I mean, Giancarlo Esposito's definitely got another good 10 years in him, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And I would hope that if they do, if they put him in that role, they make him more consistent in the MCU. Not just in X-Men, but have them go to him for consulting or something. But what do you guys think of Giancarlo Esposito, who joins the MCU? What do you think about this brand new news? And what character do you think he would play in the MCU? And what character do you think he'd be a great fit in? Jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. And that will do it for today's show. I want to thank all the commenters who came in, from the Rundown to Bradley Kincaid and others who probably have jumped in. That you guys have been very, very great to be a part of the show. I want to thank Jeremy for being a part of the show. Where can we find you on YouTube and social media, or do you have anything coming out in the near future? And also promote your business as well.
Oh, yeah, appreciate it. This was fun, man. I always enjoy doing this. I think we had some good conversations, and I do want to give it up to the chat for allowing us to be a part of your day. That's always a lot of fun, and we love to hear from you. If you want to check out some of my content, I'm on Let's Go Pensacola on 92.3 FM every Saturday at 4 p.m. So you can check that out on local radio. If you are in the area, it's also available on all podcast streaming apps afterwards. Also, you can check out Lucid Memory if you're a fan of synthwave music, like 80s inspired Cobra Kai kind of sounding stuff. And if you want to check out some of my more dated but still around movie related content, you can check out the Pop Culture Nihilist. There's lots of ways to find out what we're up to. And if you are a business owner and you are on the market for somebody to run your social media management, or you would like commercials made to showcase what it is you do with your business, check out branchadvertising.com. There's a Facebook page. You can head over there and give it a like to show your support as well. And thanks again. I hope to be able to do this again soon, Alex.
Oh yeah, me too. And we do this show at least every other week, and we'll try to step up and do it weekly. But yeah, I would love for you guys to come to our next show. You can always follow me here at Momentum Media at our community. We will be putting out more content as the weeks and months go by. I want to thank Bradley Kincaid and Cuba for being a part of the show as well in the comment section. And if you want to be a part of us and support us, we have our Patreon in the description below. We have our Streamlabs tip link in below. We also have our Cash App in the little ticker down here as well. So thank you guys so much for supporting us here at Momentum Media. And as always, you guys have a blessed day.
Peace.